Good evening. How are you?
Good evening, Lindy, and good evening to our viewers at home.
Yes, we are here and it's August. Welcome to On Hold.
Thanks for
Uh,
having
this
us
is
on board.
this is our Sunday Soul Sessions. This is where we have our Sunday Soul Sessions. Instead of having soul sessions, we have conversations on Sundays and try and
Yes,
see what we can do to improve ourselves and our lives actually.
thanks.
So thanks so much for joining us. So, Babcha, maybe tell us first about you. Who are you? What do you do?
My name is Javu Baloyi. I am the firstborn of Master and Mrs. S.S. Baloyi.
Mm,
I was born in somewhere around Guyana. I am the firstborn of three girls and two boys. I am married and I've got kids, daughters and sons. I've got two granddaughters, grandkids. One is a girl, one is a boy.
mm,
I'm currently the spokesperson for the Commission for Gender Equality. I
mm,
am a Christian.
mm.
We have got a foundation with my wife called Moby Grace Foundation, which
Okay.
is which donates to schools, to less destitute people, sanitary pads, school shoes, and at times we give
Mm,
motivational talk. We belong to a church called Evangelical Presbyterian Church of South Africa called Swiss Mission.
mm,
So,
mhm,
and I work for the Commission for Gender Equality as a spokesperson. I started as a researcher at the commission and I
mhm,
became the subsequently provincial manager. Then I was headhunted internally to become the spokesperson. I
mm,
never interviewed for the position. I do not
mm.
know, but I was told one of the skills that I have, I'm outgoing, extroverted, and at least I could write. So that's who I am
Mhm,
and what I do at the Commission for Gender Equality and who I am as a person. Yeah. So normally most of
mm,
my friends are not people of my age, are elderly people, and I
mm,
like that company. So and for wisdom and other things. So that's who now we currently staying in Pretoria, but I work in Johannesburg and Braamfontein, where our head office
mm.
is located. Thanks.
Hey, it's nice to be headhunted. You don't have to apply.
Yes.
So, what is the work that the commission does? Where does it fit in everything? And what is the work that you guys do?
The commission, says Lindy, where it's one of the Chapter 9 institutions that were
Mm,
enacted out of the Act of Parliament. We are a constitutional creature. We are one of the Chapter 9s. You know, when you talk about Chapter 9, you're talking about the Human Rights Commission, South African Human Rights Commission. You're talking about the
mm,
Office of the Auditor General. You're talking about
mm,
the Public Protector South Africa. You're talking about the CRL Rights Commission. You're talking about institutions like PENSAL, Financial and Physical Services Board. So
mm,
when you look, everyone, when they look at the constitution, is we are supposed to play an oversight role in both government and private sector. Particularly, our mandate is broad as a Commission for Gender Equality.
mm,
One of the reasons why we created, I'm told we're the second last to be created, was to ensure that there's gender parity, gender equality, and gender equity in the country. Remember, we are coming from a historical past whereby not based on race and based on discrimination and racism and other apartheid laws, where women were at the receiving end of all patriarchal things, stereotypes, and values and norms were skewed towards women. Women did not have a voice, did not have an
mhm,
agency. However, at times, you know what, we our mandate is tend to be misconstrued, thinking that when we talk about gender in South Africa, we're talking about women. Yet we're talking about
mm,
everyone else, including persons with disability. We're talking about youth. You're talking about boys and girls. You're talking about the elderly people. So, as a Commission for Gender Equality, we're supposed to be looking a vanguard, the catalyst of everything gender related. Hence, the
mm,
Human Rights Commission does something else as one
mm,
of the chapter 9 institutions. So those are some of the things that we do as a Commission for Gender Equality and why we were established to ensure that you, Mrs. Lindy, where you are at Astron for a reason, because some of the things is the intervention of the Commission for Gender Equality to say we cannot have women reaching the glass ceiling. Hence, you might have seen now the issue of Justice Mandisamaya, where the Commission even are congratulated there because we have realized that a girl child ought to be given opportunities just similarly as a boy child for all these years of the existence of the country. But since things changed, 1994, that's where the Commission find resonance and relevance in society. What is it that we're supposed to be doing?
Okay. No, that I think that's important work and that's great. And I think that's why we have you here to say, yeah, we talk about it in corporate especially, but I think in communities and as people who live in families, what is our responsibility? What do we need to learn? I do feel there's a bit of a gap there in understanding because probably maybe some barriers around religion, about culture, about such things. So that makes us a little bit limited to our knowledge and understanding. And if you're not fortunate enough to be in an organization where those things are spoken about, you kind of fall behind because now you're picking up on what is on the streets, but not necessarily understanding what is the right thing. And that's where probably we come in tonight to say, okay, let's speak as people and just say, okay, what do we know? How can we make, how can we at least get knowledge around this? And I think you've already spoken about it. I was going to ask about gender. Like when we talk about gender, what are we really referring to?
Thank you very much. And you know what you in what you've just highlighted now, it's the cornerstone of why there's confusion in society. One of it is to create an enabling environment for us as people to coexist. We're even losing an opportunity, Lindy, where in a subject called life orientation. That's where we're supposed to capacitate and build capacity for both the boy child and to understand what is gender. Gender, it's at times we people misconstrue gender as in terms of the sexuality of a person. People will say you are born male, either male or female, but forgetting that there's other gender whereby there's some called asexual, some called intersex, some classify themselves as lesbian, some classify themselves as gays and bisexual. So what we need to do when we talk about gender, it's something that your society has given you when you were born. Are you for a female gender or a male gender? But it's broadened. The scope now is being broadened to such an extent that it includes everything else. So it's no longer going to be the issue of you are born either born a male or female. But when we feel even you go to a conference now, there's another gender where they'll say, are you either male or female or asexual or non-binary? You understand? Those people who do not want to be confined to another agenda. So that's how we're talking about gender. And I'm glad you raised that question because we need to broaden the scope for people to get to understand, to say, look, you cannot prescribe to people to say, you talk to me and you assume that I classify as a male, yet I'm not a male, but I classify as a sexual person. So we had, and some of them, they classified themselves as they or them. And some said, look, don't put a prefix before my surname. This issue of Miss, Mrs., they don't like it. So that's another gender also, which is out there. So it is good that, you raise that succinctly and profoundly. So gender, it's all those it all that contain all those intricacies and nuance, and depending on where you're standing, how you define gender. So gender is not limited to both male and female. It's limited. The scope has been broadened, and because of the intervention of institution like Commission for Gender Equality, and also something that was not spoken about, the silent party of LGBTQIA plus community. So you begin to understand things broadly when you are in the field of gender. So that's what we're talking about gender, Lindy.
But then how do we differentiate sex, gender, sexuality? Because I think in the definition that you've just said, most people would probably think, oh, I thought being lesbian is sexual orientation and not gender identity. Or, is there a difference? And what is the difference?
There is a difference. At times, the difference can also be confusing to those who are identify with, let's say, it depends who you talk to at times. And you'll find that, because some will broaden the scope looking at the issue of sexuality, not looking at the sexual orientation. Are you oriented in a being if you're an intersex person, are you gay? Because they will even want to describe to you within the relationship which they're involved with, who are they a male dominant, or some will broaden the scope, said no, I am not what you think I am. I am this in the relationship. I take the mainly part of it, and you sit down and you try to understand, and you get more confusion. But you need to understand from person to person. Imagine myself working in this field and having also to interact with some of the colleagues who are gays, lesbian. I said, what is your sexuality? And at times, you need to be careful how close you are to the person to ask such questions, because it can be also be demeaning, objectifying, and degrading to some people if they don't want to give you the answers. But you'll stride an error. We'll get it right one day. Should society be accommodative of LGBTI plus AQ plus people, to say, let's talk openly in the family. Say you, says Lindy Ware, and myself, I've got a girl child would identify as lesbian, but in the relationship it says my sexuality is of that of a male, and then you understand, yes, and it takes the male shape, and then in a relationship, and then you said, oh, okay, then I understand. So you are a husband no, and then they will say, I am not a husband, but I'm saying I am involved with a woman, but me now I take the role of that of a man in a relationship. That one is, but then you find the other party says, I am married. Let me give an example of Castor. And because we work with Castor, we even went to France. She'll say that I identify as a girl, and we will say she's a woman. And then she said, okay, Violet is my wife. I said, okay, if Violet is your wife, then it means you in a relationship, but how do you want to be identified? What do you see when you look at me? I see a woman. She said, yes, identify me as a woman, but I am in a relationship with another woman. But I take the role of a husband within that relationship. Then your identification is very clear, and their sexuality is very clear. But you can't ask the other nitty-gritties how they do their own things. But because that one, it's you need to be respectful. So you get to understand. Look, even at times, you will see people. We have got people like the deputy minister for women, youth, and persons with disability, who is my friend, and you'll and some of them, you look at them, you think they resemble they take that male physique, even the dress, but they don't want to be called he. They want to be called she. So you get more confused if you are not closer to the situation. So those are some of the things that as people who must begin to also respect the people. How did they want to be identified as?
Okay, I think I get it. So
Thank
there's
you.
a gender. So there's a
Yes.
gender, which is a different identity. So there's a gender
Yes.
identity, excuse me, but also there's an identity from a sexual point of view, in a relationship point of view, and those
Yes.
two may be different.
Yes.
It doesn't mean one is equals to the other.
Yes.
Yes. So you have to understand both to say, okay, when I'm in my sexuality or in my relationship, this is how I identify myself here. But
Yes.
also, this is how I identify from a gender identity point of view. When you look at me,
Exactly.
call me, no, don't label me or label me this or
Yes. I
whichever
don't want to
way.
be called. I don't want to be called master. I don't want to be called
Yeah.
what, but call
Yes.
me simply Javu.
Yes.
Don't call me master. Don't call me Mrs. Just call me
Mm.
Javu. That's how I identify myself.
Okay. Okay. I get it. I'm not sure if people online get it. If you have a question, please post it. Let's unpack it a little bit more. So now, okay, so those are maybe I was gonna ask those common gender identities, but I think we've spoken about them. Okay, so
Yes.
now culturally now, how do different cultures view gender? It's still male, female, mostly.
Mostly, yes, it's male, female. There's no middle ground. However, that those that are living in a changing and dynamic world, that they're understanding. Hence, one of the things that we do at the commission is to engage
Mm,
cultural and religious sector and sign a
mm,
memorandum of understanding, terms of reference for us to educate them. Remember, there's
mm,
backwardness within the religious sector and within the cultural
mm,
sector in terms of moving. We are saying, and we're not apologetic. Anything that
mm,
is not in line with the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa cannot be
mm,
deemed to be constitutional, cannot be
mm,
deemed to be democratic. And we need to
mm,
teach them that, yes, culture is there. Culture is not static, culture is
mm,
dynamic. Religion
mm.
also, because remember, the church, at times, they will excommunicate people who are showing a sign that, they're gays and lesbian.
Exactly.
Culturally, when you show signs that you are lesbian or gays, they will send you to these traditional schools to say that you have been bewitched. They start praying for you, saying they're getting rid of evil spirit. Meanwhile, that's how you are. And these things, my father told me years ago that they knew of someone in our village who was gay, but they did not understood how it was. It has been there for years. And people, I
Mm,
knew a distant cousin who was gay, because some of the cousins, when in rural areas, will sleep in one head. When we're growing up, there was those randavals, and this guy will at times will wake up at night and touch other males. He will sleep with young boys. So those things were there, but we wouldn't understood by then, because
mm,
it was a
mm,
taboo to speak about. So even I
mm,
know, I was told a story of a man whom they realized in a family that he's gay. Then they
mm,
decided that the younger brother should be the one that bear him, to help him out and
mm,
get keys from his wife. So things were done
mm,
in a secret way before. But however, society must learn to understand now, even because as this is our soul session, like you have said, by the soul session, where we
mm,
engage and also build capacity and disseminate information, is to say it's not about the male or female now. It's
mm,
very, it's a little bit complicated because of the evolving of society, and
mm,
the way we have adapted to new things, and also people being themselves. Because now
mm,
people, I'm telling you, Sissy, Lindy, when now your kids will answer
mm,
you the way you will even cry to say, I've never spoken to my parents like this. They've got an agency of their own. They will tell you that, look, you bring those gory stories. I used to go to Luwa home school. I used to work with it. They said, that's not a mistake of our own. Don't blame us. You brought us this world. You will provide for us. They will
mm.
talk back to you, and in a nice,
Yeah.
in a certain way. They see no
Mm,
wrong. So that's what we must
mm,
do to the older generation, to make them understand. Look, there are people who are born physically and
mm,
psychologically, they know and identify as males, yet they are females, and some are males and they identify as females. Don't shine on them, embrace them.
mm. But Bob, just tell me, are we winning with especially the religious bodies? Like, I think there's more work there. Even with typical gender roles, male, female. Do you understand what I mean? It's always like the male
Yes.
must be the pastor, females can, even with just typical, we're not even extending the definition.
You see, the church is the one that is with the problem. Is the church, hence, even the gender-based violence within the church is very rife, because the church wants to harmonize things and want to be holier than thou when
Mm,
society is burning. The church
mm,
has removed itself. Last week, Saturday, I was presenting before high-level delegates of our church, professors,
mm,
I mean professors, where they had
mm,
to open their mouth and in awe of what I was saying to them. so that for them to begin to understand that, we cannot as a church wash our hands off issues. The problem part, you won't believe this, Cecily. There's a pastor who hated lesbians and gays. All his 4 kids are lesbians and gays. And it is a true story. All his 4 kids are lesbians and gays. Now he's the one who's a proponent of talking about LGBTQIA plus. So the church must begin to open up and be embracing, because if the church says, who are we to judge? And we judge people based on their dress code, we base people on how they want to identify it. And some people, I know kids who can't even wear a skirt going to a church. But the church will say, if you don't want to wear a skirt, don't come to our church. It's wrong. Because the church must be an environment whereby everyone can open up and be there themselves. So those are some of the things that what we do as a commission and as an individual. I do give a lot of talks. During lockdown, I've been speaking almost every day to various churches. I've been invited throughout the country to speak on issues of gender, and then we bring this topic. And I know some of them, they can be frowning to say, what if it's my own daughter? What if it's my own son tomorrow? So, and we need to be honest with, because what governs us, we're not a religious state. People forget that. We're not a cultural state. We're a democratic dispensation where we are governed by the constitution of the country. So that's something that the church must. But if just oppose what I've said. But if you tithe and offer in a church, you are gay and lesbian, I am telling you, they won't turn your money back. They will accept the money, bless the Lord. But we know they will somehow on the side, they will say something about you. So that's why
they'll send elders. They'll send the elders to give you a duke and a towel to wrap you.
Yes. You see, those are some of the interesting part of it. But we don't judge as a commission. We engage. We just want people to get to be educated and for them to understand some of these issues.
So I see my mother is here, and I did say my mom also worked on this topic in terms of gender. And I'm saying what I'm saying and commenting because she's also a big church person, and they are the ones that come with the extra duke and extra towel, just to make sure that no one is looking off. Sorry,
yes.
Ma. She can comment.
Yes. Can I tell you something, Seslindiwe? And this is on record. I can stand by it. I got involved with it. There's a church called Methodist Church. Some of the kids who were showing signs that they were lesbians and something, they stood up when one pastor and elders were inside the church in Pretoria with placards to say, the very same people who are demonizing us, they're raping us, they're abusing us within the church. So you understand the travesty. This issue of saying, I'm going to change you. You are not. I did not give birth to a lesbian. I'm going to change you. I did not give birth to a gay person. If God has created us as in His image, why should we judge? Because most of the churches now, I should think we misread what is written in the Bible and judge people harshly. That case of a Methodist church also made us realize that at times the stereotypical mentality of people can also destroy others. Some people, committed suicide. You might have heard stories of gays and lesbians at a young age in rural areas because of societal pressure committing suicide. Hence, I even go to radio station to say, any child born out of a person is a child. That person deserves to be loved. Should we also transcend boundaries and start doing something wrong in the name of God? You see, you need to be very careful of what I would say. And I'm not talking to Mama here. I'm talking to all of us who are here and other people who might even get this podcast to say, let us be careful how we say things and how we also, because tomorrow you might find someone killing themselves. You rob South Africa of a brilliant mind because of our own hatred. That's why there's a bill now. There's a bill and an act on hate crime. Anything that you say against an LGBTQIA plus community, might be
mm,
constituted as a hate crime. Someone lost a job, says Lindy, where
mm,
was supposed to be an auditor general, but because of
mm,
that, what they wrote on Facebook, um, they were dealt with in parliament to say you have got hatred, you have got the homophobic tendency
mm,
on people of different sexual orientation.
mm. I think that brings us to the gender-based violence.
Yes.
How do we define that? Most of the time we talk about it with just thinking about a man beating a woman. But I know that's not it.
Uh, can I be controversial?
Yes.
I always said not so long ago I was at the National Treasury where I was talking
Mm,
to men only.
mm,
Like the other Saturday, last week Saturday, I was talking to men only, a whole
mm,
pack of people. I
mm,
always say this is Lindy way. Men are not provocateurs of violence. We
mm-hmm,
were, as men, we were told the stupid way of the Bible to say a man is the head of the family, a man is a
mm,
provider of the family, a man,
mm,
forgetting that to tell us that a neck is a woman. A head cannot
mm,
function without a head. With a
mm.
neck, a head cannot function without a
Without
neck.
the net. Mm,
Yes. When we talk about gender-based violence, it at time previously we used to think gender-based violence it's associated with poor people. We used to
mm,
think that gender-based violence is about the physical nature of it. We used to
mm,
think that gender-based violence will see someone with bruises. Cecily, where
mm,
people are being beaten over on the porch, Waterkloof, everywhere else, Umlazi, Balito, wherever. But people, they don't beat you here physically. They'll beat you in
mm,
the body. They can beat you by a tongue.
mm.
They can abuse you sexually, and you will never talk because you want to stay in a marriage. Financially, you
Okay.
can be abused. You know
Mm,
what? Because you will want to be stay in a marriage. I always ask my younger sisters, is it necessary for you to be in a loveless marriage where physically you are not being abused, but emotionally you are a nervous wreck? Those are some of
mm,
the intricacies of, and spiritually also. You find,
mm,
says Lindy, when you drive
mm,
a car and then you see somebody passing a road robot, to me, that's a
mm,
red flag. I
mm,
don't even shout, I don't hoot, I just look, I say, there's something wrong. Within a church, when
mm,
we're standing, you see a woman running towards the husband, when the husband is standing, to me, those are red flag that verbally this woman is the, and also because of the dependency syndrome, how
mm,
gender-based violence manifests itself. Some of the women might not be working, not empowered enough to have something,
mm,
and they're dependent on a man. Some
mm,
of them are
mhm,
orphans, they don't have anywhere to go. Even the shelters, they don't know where to go. And because some
mm,
stay in a marriage, I am
mm,
telling you, if today they can say, um, here's 2 million,
mm,
how many women can leave their marriages because they're
mm,
not happy? You might find that,
mm,
only 5% remain in a marriage. Others were staying in a marriage because of they don't have anywhere to go, they're not empowered,
mm,
they don't have
mm,
money, they're dependent on that man. I see every day cases coming to the commission because we do deal with cases of women calling, Pujab, I bought a house, I'm staying with this man, I brought him to my house, he's abusing me, my firstborn child now is a hobo because of this man. This man rapes me
mm,
within a family. Imagine,
mm,
and when I talk to men, that you can even rape the person that you are married to by the
mm,
way of doing things within a family. So those are some of the intricacies of gender-based violence. It's because the scope of gender-based violence is broad. It's no longer that the physical nature of it. Imagine someone, you come, it doesn't talk to you in the morning, but in the evening it wants to be nice, David to you. Those are abuse.
mm,
That's an abusive
mm,
relationship. Whereby somebody insults you, doesn't go with you to the shops, always shouting in front of, when your friends are here, he's shouting at you, you are scared, you are
mm,
breaking place, you are breaking pot. Those are the hallmarks of an abusive relationship. And also even
mm,
kids. I always tell us to men, I said, men were idiots by nature. Um, you abuse a woman.
mm,
A woman, Lindy, can wake up at night and look at this man and say, why did I marry this idiot? And
mm,
and yet you're snoring there nicely. And also we are dependent on the very same women we are abusing to cook for us. And I scared them. I always scare men. I said, let us change. Because what if she poisons you? You die nicely with a small. Let us change and be respectful. I like men who are present, are there for their kids, whether divorced or not, because I don't want to get involved in that terrain. But as long as you are there for your kids, you are there, you always nurture your boy child, you take them, your girl child. Because I always said, in order to defeat the gender-based violence, you as a lady, Seslindiwe, your first boyfriend should be your father. You must see a boyfriend in your father. I must see a girlfriend in my mother. That even when you get married, you will tell, and you get a boyfriend, you will tell your boyfriend, I've seen my father being my role model. I have never seen something like this. You are not going to do this to me. I've never seen my father doing this to my mother. You are not going to do this to me. I am going to we're going to raise our kids in a respectful way. You're not going to talk down to me like this. As soon as women have got agencies, I am telling you, we can arrest the sketch. Some of the men who are abusing, they grew up in a violent families. They grew up where they saw gender-based violence happening. They grew up where a father will shout at the mother. They'll grow up in where a sister will be beaten by the boyfriend and nothing happens. So that vicious cycle of gender-based violence, it's perpetuated in rural areas. Even this kangaroo court, tribal traditional court council, women don't have a voice. So if we can begin to give women an agency and also teach us men how to respond to being provoked, because women can, some women, not all women, some women are just, us coming from rural areas, I've seen women chasing even after the husband, insulting them, even when the husband is trying to avoid the
argument.
And the argument, she will follow him with wearing that thing called Micheka and insulting. Yeah, Ostayela, you're a fool, you're an idiot. You're not man enough. What will a man do? He will end up turning around and raise the hand. So you see how society has also accepted as normal that there's gender-based violence, but we need to shun it. All of us, we need to know how to talk, even to a small child. A word, I always said, a word Futek you cannot use to a child. You cannot, before you say it, swallow water in your mouth. Said, am I saying this? That's why I always give an example. My friend, they see me in social media. Why are you always with your granddaughter? I said, the things that she says to me. The day she said something to the last born daughter inside the house. The mother came strong, and I was so excited. When she said Futek, the mother said, we're not going to talk like that in this house. And that's why I realized the mother is affirmed. She understands that this child must be stopped in her tracks from insulting at a young age. She might have learned it from the crèche. She might have learned it somewhere. But when she comes here, she must know that, here we talk respectfully. And all of us, we came out on here and said, Nene, you're not going to talk like this inside the house. You teach them while they're still young. Because when you allow them, said, hey, Futek mama, what? No. That's where disrespect will creep in, abuse will come in, violent behavior will creep in. You teach them young, and also even us as adults, we mustn't take for granted that these kids, they don't understand what they're saying and what they're doing. We must speak to them like adults. Even a 10-year-old child, sit them down and say, Nana, mama doesn't have money now. We can't buy these things. We'll budget, and also open up, said, when the time is right, the child will respect you for talking back to them in a respectful way. You will see the respect, you will see the love. Let us also, as men, says Lindiwe, another thing of violence is because as men were not told how to be loved. I always joke that my father was a teacher for years, but the only time that he tried to hug me, it was when I turned 21 or 22 with my first degree. He hugged me from a distance. Well done, Chief. That was it. He has never told me how much he loves me, how much he appreciates me, but he will be telling other people, hey, my son is brilliant. My son is clever. My son has got a master's degree. My son is working at this. But what about me, where it matters the most? I'm telling you, should I tell if I tell my son that, boy, I love you, they said, Papa will love you more. I love you back. I said to my daughters here, today we had a session with my eldest daughter. We're sitting, the two of us, we're talking. How much we
Mm,
appreciate one another. She
mm,
said, you know, I love you, Papa. I said, I love you, my daughter. We respected one another. You see, that's
mm,
how it's supposed to be.
mm. True,
You see,
because
and
a
then
friend of mine,
yes.
a friend of mine was also, I think, also put out a conversation like that to say
Mm.
men's feelings were never validated. So you
Yes.
come, you're beaten, you're told, go fight for yourself, you know. But if it's a
Mm.
girl, you come, oh, let me see what's wrong, what happened. Sorry, 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 sorry. But when it's a boy child and they're coming, it's kind of like, I go back. Why are you crying? Are you scared of your peers? Go back and
Mm.
fight. So whatever you feel, we were never, men's feelings were never validated to say what you're feeling is okay. It's okay to be scared. It's okay to be feeling pain. So it's always like, you can't behave like that.
We have
But
got
I want
FOMO too.
to,
We have got
but I want to,
FOMO too. When you say to a girl child, I love you, and then you remember the stages when we're still young, Oedipus complex and Electra complex. They still do
mm,
exist in us, essentially the way. If
mm,
I'm telling you, if I received a message coming from a friend says, I love you, my brother. There's these guys, religious sector, they will send I love you, my brother. I feel those emotions comes that wow, some people appreciate me. Hmm.
There's a comment here. Okay, first let's start with the first one from Dihan.
Hmm.
It says it's very important to educate our communities about the different meanings of genders, just to encourage the society inclusion and gender level of social understanding. Okay.
Hmm.
Um, okay, sorry, before this one, maybe Freedom is asking, what does the A plus mean? Please clarify that.
Okay. To freedom, A plus. It's A is those people who do not want to be identified whether they're males or female. We used to have a commission at the commission. You call them they don't identify with either sex. So those might be in a gay relationship or lesbian relationship. Uh, both in that those relationship to make it very seriously, they can be either party. They can be either a male or a female in that relationship. So we had a commissioner at the commission who was classified as the. When you address them, you say they or them. So
Mm,
you don't say Miss, Mrs., Doctor, or what. But even when they're educated, they don't want those pronouns. The pronouns of they, them. They want they, them. So it's
mm,
someone who uh, doesn't want to be identified as male or female or whatever gender is there. Thank you.
mm. And then the plus is just that there's an addition. Eh? It's not,
There's an addition. It's more. It's
yeah,
never ending.
there's
Yeah,
more. Yeah, it's about
yeah.
everything else that's not also defined or that may come.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, okay. So Dihan comes back and says, in defense, most churches will refer to Noah's Ark in the Bible to recognize male, female genders only. For that, it may be difficult for most churches to accept the other gender explanations. Sorry.
Yeah, no, no. The Khan is right, but I'm glad I'm a Christian also. Most of the things in the Old Testament have been squashed by the New Testament. So when we read the Bible, we must read the Bible holistically with understanding, because one of the things it says, "The just shall live by faith. Judge not, touch not the anointed." Remember, even during Noah's Ark in the Bible, one of Noah's sons, when they saw the nakedness of their father, what happened? And the other two covered their father because they couldn't see the nakedness of their father. It's about respect also, and also knowing how the upbringing, stuff like those. So there are a lot of verses that can also justify why certain things shouldn't be done in the manner in which we're doing it. So when we're
Mm,
looking at as much as the commission is it's not a religious sector, but I do, as an individual, understand the Bible very well. I've read the Bible
mm,
several times and I've engaged in the
mm,
Bible. So the issue of the Bible shouldn't arise when we compare modern day life and what happened in the past. Yes, somewhere there could be relevance, but we're talking about the reality of things that we see now, where people using the very same Bible to cast demons on people who are gays and lesbians, saying these are demon. And then imagine, and if you might have seen some of the stories Uzalo, you might have seen some of the stories Muskim Same. I watch soapies in order to learn and also relate to them when I'm engaging people. So we need to be very careful how also put the church in the center of everything, yet we're dealing with human elements, we're dealing with the rights and the dignity of people. So let's be very mindful of that. As much as I agree with Zihang, but we must be careful how we use the Bible in the human experience, where people can be killed by the same Bible, where the pastors can go and say, we're going to cast the demons at schools because they're lesbians and gays. Some people are born that way. They can't do anything about it. I've got a friend, you know, you'll hear the stories. They try even to rape that person because they thought that person can be changed by being raped. And they made that person to be very, very strong in their belief that, you know, they were born males, but, you know, inside they're females. Some people are doing sex exchange now because of situations like this. So there are a lot of them doing sex exchange lately. And then I know 3 or 4 people who were born males, now they're females.
Okay, I want to go back to the gender-based violence. I think I picked up quite a few things that you just said, that as far as, like I said, as far as we're concerned, we look for bruises, we look for fighting, we look at gender-based violence is about a man beating up a woman. But what you're saying, the definition in the scope is broader than that. It's about also
Yes.
verbal abuse or emotional, spiritual, or anything like that. So, for example, if a church speaks ill of a person of different gender, that can be identified as gender-based violence, because they could
Yes.
instigate other people to say these type of people are not godly, and other violence can then, okay, that on its own is violence, but also it can lead to others also being physically violent.
Yes.
Did I understand it right?
Yes, you did.
Okay, okay. All right. So obviously then when it comes to children, what I wanted to note there is also how we speak about genders to children is going to be important. I think your example was about the swearing, but I'm thinking about how do you comment about a person who's gay or who's lesbian in the family when other children are listening? What language do you use? What do you accept? What do you not accept? Do you understand? So you'll be saying, mama wako next door, okay, akere. So what does that mean? And what are you saying the kids say now? Tomorrow the kids run around the street, bar okay, so, you know, such things. So I think that's what I wanted to note as well in terms of language. As much as we talk about swearing, we are also, it's a responsibility for us to be sensitive around how we speak and what we allow our children to hear, understand, and say. Because they'll say it in crash, they'll say it next door, they'll say it on the streets, and then they're not being correct, they're being offensive, but they are a reflection of what has been commented in the house.
You see, at times we say kids display the behavior that is being said inside the house. What a child at times display is a microcosm of what is being inside the house.
Yeah, like charity begins at home.
It's at home. I've got a 14-year-old daughter inside the house. She's a teenager. She experiences these things. She knows about them. She have seen them firsthand. What I've done with her, I sat down with her, and the good shot, the mother will allow me to talk to her. Believe you me, Cecily, way this child doesn't judge. Even when she goes through a menstrual cycle, she might not phone the mother, she will phone me to go and get, because she understands how sensitive I am towards her and towards her understanding of certain things. It is us parents, when we want to hide things. This is a lesson to all of us in this platform. Let us not try to shy away of discussing things openly. The moment you think you will talk to you'll wait for them to be 12 years, it's too late. There's a subject called life orientation. They talk about sex, sexuality, they talk about pregnancies, they know all these things. These kids will buy them expensive phones, they're in Google, they Google sexual activities, they see these things. And when you become aware, you think I'll talk to them 17, it's too late in the day. What then happens is that it's a clarion call to parents in this platform, and including myself and you, that let us try to be there for the kids and raise everything. Let us have those sessions. There's one family in TikTok. They talk about everything. They said Mzandi's greatest family. I like them.
I know it.
There's a boy called Jose there. He asked very difficult question. And at times he will go to the father and said, Father, how did you propose? Can you propose a woman? They talk about everything else. How did it happen that Mama loves you because the way, and those are the things that gone are the days where he said we can't talk about these things. As a mother, if you have got a girl child, says Lindy, talk to the child. Tell them that yes, I might have gotten you at an early age. Yes, as a father, I might have gotten a child at an early age, but to wait for the right partner and be involved in sexual activities at the right age is the right thing to do. When you see someone who shows a behavior that they're gays and lesbian, as long as it's not bothering you, be supportive towards them, be their friends. Do not, it's not contagious. Because at times, people say, no, scatter lady gays, these things will just jump to you, you'll become gay, it doesn't work like that. So we need deeper education on these issues. So as people of this country and as people in this platform, we need to open up to say, gone are the days where we'll hide things from kids. Even salaries. I do talk to my kids. I don't have money. I've used this and this and this. This is what I'm planning. You take them along. You will see your kids won't come with expensive shoes bought by sugar daddies by the streets. It will be they will say, my daddy is saving for us. My daddy is doing this for us. He doesn't have enough. And also respect as in a family. If we are lucky to have both parents inside the house as kids. Also, parents, don't do certain behavior which is erratic in front of the kids. Go to the bedroom, talk, engage, and go to the kids with one voice to say, this is what you're going to do. Sit them down, say, look, Papa doesn't have enough money. We're paying for the car, we're paying for the bond, we're paying for this. There's extended family in the war home or Guyana. We're helping them. There was a funeral. We use money. Kids do understand. Sit them down, said, yes, Wanoko next door, kill is bien. We are verified, ki gay, but do not go around say we're not gay, because that is very wrong. Because one day you might find that even yourself, you don't know your sexuality. You also someone within our family can be lesbian. Yes, within my circle, we have got gay kids, we have got lesbian kids, and I talk to them. They are so accommodative to me because they know I talk to them, and I even ask them, is that which one do you prefer? Because they'll say, when we know you will ask us. They get so accommodative. I'll say, can I find you a girlfriend? Even if it's a gay man, can I find you someone? I know someone. And at times I said, no, I know a rich girlfriend. I can find. You talk openly and honestly and nicely and respectfully to them. They will open up.
True. But maybe to talk about the LGBTQIA plus community, what are the big things challenges that they are facing? Where I think we've spoken about the violence, the society not being acceptable. Anything else, maybe just so that to find ourselves also.
It's them also. You see, one of the things that we must also do within government also is to have a criteria when you classified people, because they're one of the vulnerable peoples, like disabled people. Those forms for employment must also be, if we can have that aspect of saying are you gay or lesbian or other gender, that can be also be helpful for people. I am telling you, Cecily, there are a lot of gays and lesbians who are dying in silence. Remember, there's an artist in America, Jay-Z. His mother recently, she came out, said, I've been dying, living a life. Oprah, not Oprah, Whoopi Goldberg. She came out, said, I've been a lesbian all my life, but society was shunning me. There are a lot of gays and lesbians who can come out to say, I am gay. Now I heard even Michael Schumacher's younger brother to say, he came up, Ralph Schumacher, I've been living a lie all these years. How many of us are living a lie in a marriage? How many of us are having that situation whereby we stay in a marriage, we have got kids, but you know inside you are not who you are, you think you are. But because society is there, also violence meted against gays and lesbians. You have got a lot of professors whom I know, vets, TUT, soccer players, Youth Melanie, and others, who have been killed in a violent way of wanting to change their sexuality. So there are a lot of things we must also make sure uh, in that spirit that this is spoken about. The church must speak about it. The cultural beliefs, when they go to circumcision school, initiation school, they must also be given that opportunity to be they themselves. They cannot be strong
Mm,
even when we know they're weak. So you understand all
mm,
those things. If we can do that and be accommodative, who are we to judge? But if we create an enabling
mm,
environment to coexist and
mm,
live happily and nicely with one another, it's so nice to be around lesbians and gays. When they open
mm,
up to you, talk to you, you accommodate you know the stories you can make. They can make you have a wonderful day, a wonderful year ahead, because they'll tell you stories because they want to relate, because they think that
mm,
they know you're accommodative, you're not
mm,
judgmental. So those are some of the
mm.
things that if we can change the Z83 forms and include
Yep.
the issues of gays and lesbians, we'll have done a big thing in South Africa.
I know you guys as a commission have a lot of work. From
Yes,
employment equity, I mean, everything is still male, female, and all of that, to forms, like you're saying, to benefits, pension funds, all of the benefit, like, okay, all of everything. Like, as you're saying it, it's running through my mind to say how much work is still behind. I mean, even in HR, we look at recruitment, how we write the jobs. We're still behind in
yes,
just J, and
everything.
then everything.
Yeah,
Our
if we
buildings,
hmm,
our buildings, and like yo,
yes, toilets also.
yeah.
Hmm.
So where are we making progress? Are we making progress anywhere? Maybe in one element.
We are in terms of toilets, we are making progress. In terms
Okay.
of yes, in terms of toilets, at the commission we don't have toilets which are designated for males or females.
Okay. Okay.
It's for everyone.
Okay.
And you can enter everywhere when you have got all those things that are supposed to be there, and people
Yeah.
will respect that thing. And even our
Yeah.
forms, when you come to the commission, you attend something,
Yeah.
the forms are very, very clear that if you want to be asexually, if you want to be gender non-binary, yes, we are doing
Mm,
that. In our commission, no one will speak ill of an LGBTI. We go
mm,
out there, we talk about social orientation openly and
mm,
honestly. It's what we
mm,
do. We are also trying to influence policies. Yes, there's hate crime, there's other things.
mm,
We are making strides as a
mm,
country. South Africa is not one of the best in Africa
mm,
in terms. That's where people get it wrong.
mm,
We are ranked number 12 worldwide
mm,
in terms of gender equality, gender parity, but we're getting there. Countries like Rwanda, Senegal, Lesotho, Botswana are ahead of us, but we're getting there surely and surely. But looking at the population dynamics in South Africa, we're getting there, Cecily. We're doing a lot. It's baby steps. It's not easy, but it shall be done. I
mm,
always tell people that,
mm,
if Rome was not built in a day, then if Rome was built in a day, we are going to call the same contractors who built Rome to come and help us to advance. It's baby steps. It takes a lot of
mm,
education. It takes a
mm,
lot of engagement like we're doing now to
mm,
arrive where we're supposed to. If we can today get 5 people or 4 or 2 people to understand what is gender-related issues are, what is gender-based violence, why there's Chapter 9 like Commission for Gender Equality, because we don't deal with gender-based violence only, says Cindy. We bring
mm,
companies, with subpoena companies, with subpoena government department to come and look
mm,
at the issues of the gender transformation. We look at the gender transformation within the judiciary, education, within the media, the public, the private sector, where you are. And people come and scream before us to say, no, we'll do more, we'll do better going forward. We'll give recommendations. We're looking at even women who were forcefully sterilized on because of HIV. We're looking even at issues of maintenance, whereby men are paying maintenance, but someone within the justice system is taking their monies. And at times, deadbeat dads who are not paying maintenance, deadbeat dads who are raping their kids. So we're looking at lots of issues. There are myriad of issues at the commission that we do. And people can go to www.cge.org.za and look at some of the issues that even now we are going to launch a report on the 15th of August, which looks at the mental health of women in the Eastern Cape who are accessing services from the Department of Health, women who are not accessing services, communal land in rural areas. Those are some of the reports. And women who are losing houses because they are widows, women who they have lost their husband. And you have got that Malum and Rakadi. I'm not referring to you, Cecilin Dewes Rakadi, but there are some Rakadis that help bid in making confusion in family. So we're dealing with all myriads of issues within the family and then within the household in the country. There are a lot of things that our scope is broad, but we surely will get the gender substantive issues that the commission engages on.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. I agree. You see, that's one of the Mama Zalas who take the house because now my son is gone. It's a problem.
Yes.
Okay, so there's Mommy. It says, I concur with the statement that not only men are perpetrators in an abuse situation, women generate a chunk of abuse that's not recognizable because we're highly protected by law and culture. Women are by nature highly emotional and, on the other hand, very straightforward in terms of their opinions, which is a natural way of expressing oneself. Men tend to take trivial problems very serious and personal, hence quick to apply physical abuse.
Exactly. Mommy is spot on. I am not that person who's going to deliberate on a very succinct and profound point. Mommy is spot on. This is where Mommy must play a role also and work with the commission to say what can be done in order to educate the boy child. And if it's coming from Mommy helping us as men, we will win this battle. Because one of the things how we defend ourselves, it's wrong as men. Because culture and all the laws protect women. I'm telling you, Cecilindi, should I say something negative here? As a spokesperson for the commission, tomorrow the headline will say Gender Commission Spokesperson of RAMP. Gender Commission Spokesperson, patriarchal mentality, attitude, stereotypes, and everything else. So Mami is spot on 100%. I give it to her. She has been on the field. She understands these things. Big up, Mami, and we love you, Mami.
And then we have a question. What is being done with men who are being abused? As in most cases, you hear that they are laughed at the police station. What are you as an organization towards educating other men and women about that? I think it's what are you doing?
We have subpoenaed the police. All the provincial police commissioners, they came to Bramfontein. Even the National Police Commissioner, Ndatema Simula, they came here. It's an ongoing discussion. The problem part, I always say this, and people must hear me nicely. One of the elements, it's the training of the police. Cecilindi, we get these people, some are desperate to get jobs, they find them in the police. Some of them, even the minister will have said, the then minister, some can't even write statement within the police. And we have started the process of engaging with the police officers about this issue of laughing to people, the issue of Tutuzela Care Centers not saving our people, the issue of police also giving you an affidavit, write to a statement so that we can sign on underneath. It is very wrong. So that's where we started the processes with, because most men are being abused. And most men, they want to go out, but society will laugh at them. Most men who have lost their jobs during COVID are at the receiving end of their partners. I said on Saturday last week to say, a man can stay with a woman for 100 years without the woman working. But the moment the man loses a job, even the neighbors will know that, it's the woman who's fending. We must change those cultural stereotypes. We must change this issue. A man must be told also, you can also rely on a woman for some. Actually, you are partners. The Bible says the two shall leave their parents and become one. So when I lose my job, then we're no longer one. You're an individual. I can't deal with this. This is too enough for me. Even the kids will even tell you as a man to say, Mama said you mustn't open the fridge because you're not working. You mustn't take our food. It is wrong. So those are some of the things that men bear the brand of societal ills. Cecily, it's so sad. I've got friends who, when they lost their job, I'm telling you, there's one friend who was suspended. The wife decided, let's stay in the separate bedrooms. I can't deal with this. It's affecting me. But instead of being supportive, instead, nobody knows tomorrow. And biblically, Mama can even tell you another state. What we see now, it could be temporal. What we do not see is it's eternal. So at times, we need to be cognizant and respectful. A lot of men, hence statistically, that person who raised that, let me tell you something which will shock you also. Statistically, men in majority are committing suicide. It's a fact. And it's sad. It's a fact. It's a statement of fact. It's there. It has been proven, because we're not told to be strong enough. What we are told, tigers do not cry. Into thy car. A man doesn't cry. It is good as a man to cry. If you are living in a loveless marriage where there's an abuse, I'll just decide to say, see, I thought when we started on a good note, but now this is where our paths separate. You go left, I go right. I cannot deal with this, because tomorrow you'll be arrested for having abused the very same person you are married to. So there's a lot going on. My daughter will always say, Papa, there's a lot going on. I said, what is a lot of? You said you won't understand. But for us men, let us understand each other and talk. I always talk about men as agent of change. The betterment of self as men begins with us.
True. But you men need to also hold each other, give each other a safe space.
Exactly. I chased two women last week, Saturday. There were 3 women sitting in a men's forum, SS Lindiwe. I asked them respectfully to say, can they leave us for an hour or so that as men we can talk. We can talk about our sexuality. We can talk about men who have got sugar diabetes. We can talk about men whose wives or partners are sleeping with tights inside the house. We can talk about men whose wife go parties because they're no longer working, comes back early hours in the morning. So my wife will visit Cecily Ndiwe and stay in Cape Town for 2 weeks. Yet I'm still here in Pretoria with the kids. All those things, we talked about it. 2 men cried in the forum and opened up. And that I won't mention, because that thing we learn to have safe space for men to speak and vent and say, guys, I am going through the most.
But that's powerful. It must be done even in smaller spaces. I'd love to see it in churches. I'd love to see it in schools, in workplaces as well. But I think the commission and all of you, we are here to support. And we are grateful that we're here. I learned a lot, and I think there is a lot we can do. And it just starts with my mindset and how I think and see things and talk about things. What I teach my children. I have 2 boys. They also need to learn how to create a safe space for each other and not, feel that they have to be strong and whatever. They have to learn to protect others. They need to learn the language. They need to learn understand genders. There's a lot that I must teach, but I knew that I also don't know enough. So now with this, it gives me some conversation to say, hey, today was nice. We spoke about this, and I can also understand where they are, but also conversations about any place where I am, so I think that will also help us to be agents of change in that way. So yeah, they're asking, can you do a men's conference, please?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
Yes.
It's Cecily
I'll
Ndiwe
be in
has got my Cecily Ndiwe has got my details.
Yes.
And it might not be me also. If you're in another province, we can bring some of the best people who can speak better on the topic than me. It's not about me hogging the space. It's about us sharing information. We can bring experts also for free for you. At the commission, we don't get paid to do this. This is voluntary. It's we go all out there. We get our salaries anyway. So we do this for the love of it, and also because it is the right thing to do. So there are a lot of people who can bring you experts. Some of them that you know about them said, "Can you bring this person to ours?" We can do that anytime. And if it's you are in Gauteng, I'm able to drive there and come there, I'll come. I've attended a lot of sessions around Gauteng. We speak, we talk as men, and we can also do session, both with both genders present, so that we can hear
mm,
what women are crying about. We can hear what men are
mm,
crying about. We find a middle
mm,
ground
mm.
amongst us.
I'm gonna take you on.
Thank you.
You are not going to regret offering. Don't worry.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, Babja. Thank you very, very much. I think
You're
we've
most
learned
welcome.
quite a
Thank you for
lot.
having us. It was
Yeah.
refreshing. It was
Yeah.
refreshing. And I need to tell you something before I leave. You have got a gift.
Yeah.
You have got a
Okay.
gift. Please harness that gift of yours, and so that you remain who you are. You have asked for someone who's not in the gender space. You have asked very
Mm,
poignant questions more than the people in the gender space, and you have got a gift.
mm.
May you continue. May your dream and aspiration and hope for this podcast grow in leaps and bounds. I wish you well, and I trust our God in heaven will bless you abundantly. Thank you.
Amen. Amen. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thanks and good night, guys.
Good night.